Hey everybody, it is Saturday, the 13th, and 13th of September, and we are in a place called Elkhart Lake in Wisconsin, which is kind of a touristy resort place. There's also a raceway here, Road America. I think we had a couple of videos earlier in the summer from YouTube username Sound of the Times, and he had one or two videos from up here. But this is a wedding on an unfortunately a kind of cloudy, rainy day, which is not great. This is, I'm sure, a nice place when it's sunny. Unfortunately, today is not that day, so I'm just gonna get myself set up. Gonna grab all of the bits and bobs we got here, including this fella, which is a CD I made up of some of the music that they requested, the bride and groom requested for the wedding, which I have been playing in the car on the way up, and that has helped me find out if there's any kind of jumping, sticking, because quite frankly, if you're playing a track for the first dance and it jumps or sticks, they're going to remember that. So I always, even if I've got the track as an MP3, even if I've got the track as a CD somewhere else, I always burn another copy of all the music, and then that way I can play it all straight through as I'm coming up and check that it's all right. So we did that. We checked it was all right. Everything was great. So just about gonna go in and load up. So we'll see you then. We're in a place called Victorian Village here in Elkhart Lake, and they're getting married downstairs from here. It was due to be out in the veranda if it would be nice, but it's kind of rainy, so they're not getting married there. They're getting married downstairs from this, and then the reception is in this. It's in the theatre here at Victorian Village, and slightly unusual. So let's go and see where we're going to get set up. So this is going to be the load in. It's not the worst load in I've ever seen. So we're in an old theatre, as the name suggests. Tables are all set up here. We've got the top table on the dance floor. I'm presuming that's going to be moving for the dancing parts. It's not a huge place. Kind of cozy, so it shouldn't need too many people to make it feel nice and warm and welcoming. And then I'm up here on the stage. Let's pan back a little bit. So I've just got to lift my stuff in onto this stage. That should take me about maybe 20 minutes or so, and when we've done that, we'll report in. About 3:30, guests should be arriving probably in about another hour, about 4:30. I got here just after 2, and got here with a little bit of time to spare, which is probably just as well, because the Google Maps directions were not that precise, and it took me about another 10 minutes to actually find the place. So I always like to arrive really, really early, in part because, well, what's the worst that could happen if you're too early? If you're too early, then you've got more time hanging around, but if you're too late, then something goes wrong. You could end up making a serious dent in the fun and games of the day, and that wouldn't be good, not on a wedding. So I always like to arrive very, very early, which for anybody who knows me will know that me getting somewhere early is pretty good going. I tend to be late more than I'm early. So for weddings, however, I make special effort and I get there early. So if I give myself a good 2 hours of setup time at least. Especially if I've got a long distance to go. It's about 60 miles to get here today, so if I've got a little bit longer, I give myself a little bit more time. Like I said, if I have to hang around a little bit longer, it's no big deal. I've got lots I can be doing. So, and also a couple of little things just while we're getting set up. One of which is, I can't stress this enough, is that when you're setting up, you get the music first. I've still got 1 or 2 lights I need to set up, but pretty much everything music-wise is set up. It's Slightly smaller setup today just because of the fact that it's not that big of a room, so I'm not even going to bother with a sub. They're in a more kind of laid back sort of soft rock style music as well, so I can't imagine that we're going to have any wild and heavy hip hop later on, so I think it probably will be a little bit of a more sedate affair. So again, don't need the sub for that. The tops do a nice job as it is. The other thing is, as well, is I'm wearing one of these kind of wicking shirts. What I've discovered is that if you wear cotton and it starts to sweat, or you start to sweat, it gets wet and it's just really clammy and it's not very good. These things are great. They wick the sweat away from you, and it's kind of makes you less clammy by the time you're getting around to getting changed, shirt and tie and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. If after I've said that you don't see anything that looks a little bit different, then I didn't do it. But I'm going to try something a little bit different. So we'll see how it goes. I'm always looking to spice things up a little bit. These can get a little bit dull and boring sometimes. So stay tuned and we'll have some filming later on. Okay, so everyone started arriving. The cocktail hour has begun, and they're all up at the bar getting drinks and what have you. So we've probably got about an hour and a quarter before we actually get to dinner, the Grand March, and all those kind of things. So in between times, what I do is get myself ready for the night because of the equipment I use, which is the Newmar D² Director. It has a kind of crate function where you can drag music from the hard drive into the crate for later. And so what I do is based on the requests that I know that they've asked for, plus the kind of music that they like, I go through some of the folders, drag in music into the crate that I think I might need later on. And also, I try and kind of do a little bit of a on-the-fly cocktail hour, rather than just sticking the same CD in or the same, mix on. I'll try and kind of do a little on-the-fly for the cocktail hour, again based on the music that they like and all of that. So that's kind of what I do up until dinner hour starts. Then when dinner hour starts, obviously there's a chance you might be getting fed, but also that's the time when I wander around the tables, get a chance to speak to everybody who's here, find out any requests they've got, where they've come from, and just generally kind of introduce myself, because then when I get started, there's less of a sense of who the heck is that up there. We've met, and I find it helps the night go better. So that's kind of what I do up until the point where we get going. That works for me. I find that I get more prepared rather than just sitting reading a book or, going sitting in the car. So I'm going to be getting started that very, very shortly, and hopefully next time you see us we'll have some music going.